Okay, this is Trophy Gold, part two of From the Belly of the Beast. If you are watching this and you're interested in Trophy Gold, you can learn more by checking out the um, pre-order page for Trophy, which will be linked in the notes. And this particular incursion from the Belly of the Beast by Madeline Ember is located in Codex Leviathan, which should be available on drive-thru by the time you're watching this. So I want to do just a quick bit of housekeeping, group. If we could please just go through those things I always ask you about at the top of the session now. Burdens, gold, or how close are you to meeting your burdens? That's really what I'm more interested in. Hunt roll tokens and conditions, please. We shall go in the order of the sheet, which is Scum.
I have currently 0 gold, 1 hunt token. I'm at 3 ruin and 4 burdens.
Yes, and ruin too. Thank you. Awesome. 4 burdens. Okay, great. Sounds awesome. Let's go to Korkaluk.
I am at 0 gold, 0 hunt tokens, 3 ruin, and 4 burdens.
Fantastic, thank you. And Oster.
I'm at 0 gold, 1 hunt token, 2 ruin, and 6 burdens. And my blood is still tainted by Old Kaldur. I'm marked by a Verispirit, and I cannot lie, and I've seen an omen.
Very good, thank you. I don't think I caught conditions for the other characters. I can look at it though on the sheet.
Do you want to backtrack?
No, it's fine. I'll just you go ahead. Actually, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Since you're thinking about it.
All right. So from back in the days of Hester's Mill, I shared breath with a bear and have the birthing dream. Still waiting for you to put that to despicable use. I'm in love with the porcelain-faced beetle woman, Patience Davies, and one of my wrists is a sort of spider-threaded wrist that she fixed.
Yes, indeed. Good. Your conditions have become like character like changes, which I think is interesting. Let's go to Ethelinda. Oh, Fraser, we cannot hear you.
I've got 0 gold, 2 hunt tokens, 2 ruin, 5 burden, and I am inhabited.
Awesome. So let me tell you a little bit about this incursion. It is a fairly fast-moving incursion. Like the end of it is going to sneak up on you. Okay, like you're going to be like, oh shit, it's almost over. Be wary of this when you're thinking about meeting your burdens, okay? Because you don't want to get to that like quite sudden end and not have met your burdens. So be thinking about hunt roll tokens and whether and how you should spend them to get your treasures, and just kind of the set goals are very like treasure oriented in a lot of cases. So you'll be kind of focusing on treasures and discovering the sort of ecology of this creature, the Balindrakir. By the way, that's the theme of the incursion is ecology. So a quick recap, you had been aboard this boat for a couple of months. Sure, 1 second. You had been aboard this boat for a couple of months chasing one of these legendary creatures, the Balindrakir, who, by the way, have not been seen for a long time, but here was one that was seen and found. And so you've been chasing it. And eventually the ship managed to sort of to basically prevent it from submerging, right? They managed to like do all the whaling sort of things that you do to make sure that it doesn't submerge. And so now it's there, it's on the surface. You took a little boat into the creature's mouth after prying the mouth open. The mouth is enormous, like the teeth are twice the size of a man. And once you got in the mouth, it closed up behind you. It was intentionally closed up behind you. And you have this academic with you named Mr. Whittle. And Mr. Whittle, he is pretty clearly keeping something from you all. Like he there's like something, it's very obvious that he's like, he knows something about these creatures or about this particular creature that he's not sharing. He has shown you some of his books and things, but he's certainly keeping some behind. Mr. Whittle also brought with him some sort of like glowing nettles that you could kind of like smear on your boots to create a light source, as well as it has like a mildly anesthetic effect as well. And so you looked for a way to get like kind of down the creature's gullet. You ended up like basically tying off a rope or a chain or something to a python that had been like kind of wedged in the gum and tooth of one of the upper teeth, and you lowered yourselves down. Mr. Whittle is on the back of Osto, and everyone else is kind of climbing down. I don't remember exactly where we ended last time in that descent, but I'm gonna kind of backtrack and put us like on the descent down the rope. Okay, that's where we're gonna kind of start. So did I miss anything on the recap? I think that more or less covered where we're at. We kind of just started the incursion. So as you're going down, the first person down, I don't know if we established who that is. It's not super important though. Will notice that you actually have like two options in terms of like where you want to get off, because you're kind of going down and like on the other side of you, you reach this sort of like landing that looks like it leads into a cave. The interior of this creature looks like a cavern. Like it's like rock mostly, or it's got a lot of rock and mineral, but it's like interlaced with like sort of organic matter. Mr. Whittle will go on at some length about the fabled Balandark. The Balandark is the interior of a Balandrakir, which is known to be like more like a cave system than a body, right? And so you'll sort of see this like sort of cave entrance as you're kind of going down, but you can go further down though. And further down, there is a great heaving back and forth like a wind, like, and then, and it's a very powerful like sort of gust. And so if you go down to that bottom portion, you'll probably have to deal with that gusting, right? This is probably the breathing of the creature. And so I will just kind of turn it over to all of you now. What do you do? Where do you go? And what's going on?
Can we kind of tie a midshipman's hitch into this rope so that we can laterally, if I understand right, get off into the cave and possibly return to this rope? Or is it like a one-way path?
I'm into that as an idea. Yeah, if you have the appropriate equipment, I'll let you do it for free. I like that.
Well, I've got twine, which isn't a very strong hitch. I can probably dig into my backpack for this shorter length of rope.
I have iron spikes and a mallet, so if someone has rope.
I think that'll do it, yeah.
My rope is, I think,
Yeah.
what we came down, so mine's out.
Right. Now I've got 60 feet of rope. Look at that. I was in my backpack the whole time.
Perfect. Oh, hey, I got some rope. Good. Yeah, that's great. I like that. If you want to be able to go to that sort of like cavern system that's sort of halfway down, you can definitely do that. And then go back, you can do that. If you sort of like rig it up to do that, I think that's perfectly fine.
Let's do that. If everybody agrees, I would say let's do that.
Yeah, sounds good.
So it sounds like you're going to the caverns first before you're going down to this sort of like gusting chamber. Is that fair? Good. That is a new set. It's called the Scouring Caverns. And your set goal is to collect samples of valuable resources. This space is very heavy with humidity, and it resembles, as I've noted, a massive cavern. You will notice that things are being slowly digested within a series of churning acidic pools. Like you'll see them right away as you sort of step into the cavern. There are these pools of like acid. You'll just see like half dissolved fish and bones and things kind of slowly being dissolved away in the acid pools. Treasure and ore can be mined here. You will see it in the walls. You'll see glimmers. We also kind of hinted at it last time by noting that the blood is blue with flecks of gold in it. So there, you can tell that there is like ore in the walls. And if you can find a good solid ore deposit, you will, you know, that could be a great sample, or could be just on the face of it, just worth a lot of money. And so, you know, as you step into this space where these pools that are glowing a kind of sickly green and stinking of sulfur and methane, I think I just want to get a sense of like what everyone's doing, just kind of as you enter this space. I'm going to start with Osto.
Asta will hop off the rope and kind of not too gently dislodge Mr. Whittle.
Mr. Whittle will say, "Now we must be very, very careful. I don't recommend at all interfering with any ore deposits that you find, because you will almost certainly get the attention of the Balandrakia's immune bodies. Now, let me explain the concept of an immune body. The body is a very, very complex system. And sometimes when you don't, say, practice good hygiene or bathe regularly," he says, looking pointedly at maybe more of you that are comfortable, he says, your body reacts in order to keep you healthy. It's a very, very, it is a new science. We're still sort of figuring it out. And, well, I just have a feeling that the immune bodies of this Balandrakia are perhaps something we don't want to get the attention of. So put treasure out of your mind, shall we?
So, Mr. Whittle, if treasure's out of our mind, why are we in here?
Oh, well, did I say put treasure out of your mind? How absurd. Of course we're here to get treasure. Yes, treasure. He just sort of like walks on.
Scum just rolls his eyes, gives a little nudge at Osto, like, why is he even here? And he is going to start looking for maybe signs of the reef makers, because he was quite interested in the stories that he heard about the boat.
Yes, the reef makers, who are this culture of people who are still around and who have a long history of hunting and harvesting the Balandrakia, right? When the Balandrakia were more in the world, right? I love that. Do a hunt roll. If you can justify your second die, just say so.
That's a 3.
A 3. You are, well, tell me what you're doing, first of all. Like, just what's your kind of approach here?
I think I'm still with the flaming hand. If you remember, I had used the Kindle. And Scum is approaching the pool of acidic fluids, trying to see if maybe there are remnants of the reef makers, maybe their boats or cadavers.
I don't think you notice anything straight away. However, at one point, an arm briefly surfaces from one of the acidic pools, and the hand is just kind of grasping wildly out of this acidic pool, and then it just sinks back down.
There's someone in there. Osto.
Asta will come over and someone in what?
There's someone. I just saw hands sticking out of the thing.
That nothing in there is still alive.
I'm telling you, I saw the fingers moving and everything. Karkulak, can you maybe go in there, since you're not made of flesh?
Just put your hand in the acid pool. It's no big deal. While this is going on, behind you in another acid pool, the pool begins to froth and sizzle wildly, and a face half melted, just, partial bone and partial flesh, eyeball hanging out, pops out of the liquid and just gives a terrible, painful scream, like, and then just like submerges again.
Well, Scum's not seeing things. That's the good news. I'm going to call out to Mr. Whittle. Hey, Mr. Whittle, you ever lose anything inside of a Ballandrake?
He says, I have never been inside of a Ballandrake. This is the first time for me.
Oh, I'm saying lose something precious.
I don't think I follow.
It just seems like you're here for a reason that is specific to you and not to us.
And he's sort of like yelling across the way, right? Because he's already marched ahead. And he turns back and says, I will confess something to you all. I have a passion for scientific inquiry, and it is a passion that seizes hold of me and I won't let go. So, yes, I'm not as concerned about the captain's treasure motivations or your motivations, however simple or uninteresting they may be. I have my own aims. I'm happy to help you out as long as my aims are consistent with yours. And he says, for example, and he kind of goes down and he begins like collecting this like phosphorescent slime on one of the walls. He says, this material is very fascinating. One wonders if this could be a useful light source. Could we perhaps forever end the need for, doing prosaic things like making fires for light? He sort of is collecting this material in glass jars. Ethelinda, what are you up to?
I would like to try to attune myself to the creature as I search for treasure so that I can kind of I'm trying to find something that the Ballandrake is not particularly sensitive of, but still quite valuable.
Oh, very good. I like this. Do a hunt roll with 2 dice. I like that.
A 4.
A 4. That is get a token, and you encounter something terrible. You are attuning. What does that look like? Like, how are you attuning with this Ballandrake here?
Is the flooring and stuff that we're walking on, does it feel like a creature's soft tissue or something like that? Or
it's mostly hard, like a cave floor, but there are soft bits. Yeah.
I think I'm probably using my staff to strike the ground and then bend down and put my hand on the ground and try to sense the emotion of the creature and how it's responding and sort of flit away from that.
Yeah, I think you will notice across the way an outcrop of shimmering metal. It looks like gold, or at least a gold-like substance, and it's quite large and probably valuable. You'll just notice that, though. Your attunement maybe your attunement pointed you in that direction. I don't really know, but you do see it. However, when you put your staff down, I think you put it into a soft, fleshy bit in a way that is maybe not great or comfortable for the Ballandrake here. And almost immediately, a sinuous, sort of centipede-like being with human arms along the body instead of insectoid legs appears and just like kind of slithers out of the darkness, and it kind of opens the head is like a centipede, that's sort of mandibles, and it just begins. You see like dribbling black mucus coming out of the mouth. What do you do?
I mend the irritated spot.
So you're going to try to like soothe the creature now in order to get this
Yeah, to sort of
response away.
yeah, like if it's like a white blood cell or whatever, I want to be like, I'm cool too.
I like this as a risk roll. I think what you're just trying to basically get the creature to not react to you anymore, or to not respond, right?
Yeah.
I like that. What could go wrong, gang?
Well, obviously, some of this black goop could end up on Ethelinda's face or body.
Picturing the coaxing hand gestures that Ethelinda does are, in fact, for this species, like a threat move, like, and it summons more buddies to its aid.
I don't think I have anything better than just like you get black gooped. So
Same.
dice. So you have the mending skill. I'm curious, like what the actions you're taking are here. What does it look like?
I think I'm probably using my numbing herbs and sort of like my skill in mending to sort of like massage it into the area so that even if I can't repair this tissue, it at least becomes non-sensitive. And
I like that. It's good. So you got one light die. Devil's bargains. Devil's bargains. No matter what the creature, it's an immune body. The immune body, maybe other immune bodies, they will actually like your work too much and might like take you to other problem areas. Like, so, or actually that doesn't really work as a no matter what though, because you might get attacked. So maybe that's not a great devil's bargain. We'll just say that no matter what, you become a continued object of fascination to the immune bodies.
Got one where your numbing herbs mix with the sort of acidic bile and basically sends one of your hands completely numb. So you've got this floppy appendage.
What if your immune system reacts to this and you get allergies?
I can't think of anything.
So you got 3 choices. What do you think?
I think the continued fascination thing is interesting.
You have 2 light dice. I'm not going to make you roll dark die yet, unless you want to. But you can do it later if you want.
Okay. And so I'm rolling
risk 2.
Risk 2. 4. I will add a dark die.
Okay. If you don't want, I can tell you what the complication is if you want to make a decision about the complication.
Okay.
The complication is it's not going to hurt you. It is going to secure you. And you're muted.
Yeah. I'll roll the dark die.
Go for it.
Risk. So risk 2, 1, right?
Yes.
5 and a 3.
Would someone like to help? This might be a great opportunity for a help roll.
Yeah, sure.
Describe what you're doing and then how you're vulnerable and roll weak.
I think in terms of vulnerability, can I just say that perhaps there is another centipede creature lurking behind me and I haven't seen it? As far as our helping goes,
I like it. That's good.
I haven't thought it through, but me just trying to make calming sounds like goblins used to do with horses and
Very good. Yeah, the little horses. Good. Go ahead and roll weak. That was no help, but you didn't take any ruin either. So,
Yeah.
okay, so you're at the same result here. Do you want to add another dark die?
So right now, with the 3 on the dark die, my ruin would go up
It will
anyway,
not.
right?
No, because it's not the highest. It has to. The dark only comes into play if it's the highest die in the roll.
All right, I'll risk it then.
Okay.
I like to risk. Ah,
Hey,
there
there
we
you
go.
go. 6 light. Good. Full success. Go ahead and just describe how you get the creature to back off.
Yeah, so I think it's like hunting me essentially with that bile dripping and everything, and I'm sort of frantically patting these numbing herbs and sort of mixing it with the spot that it hurts with, and then I think what ends up being the clincher is that I maybe perhaps mix it in with like a little bit of the deer musk to make it more potent or something like that, and maybe even the smell sort of drives it off too, or something like that too.
Nice, good. It will skitter away, but you will notice now that there are a number of these creatures on the walls of this cave, clinging to the cave wall with their arms, which look like human arms on this sort of sinuous kind of tube-like bodies. But the arms have like talons on the end of them, so they're able to like kind of gently scale the wall. And they are just kind of bobbing back and forth, kind of focused on you, Ethelinda. Like you are a thing of interest right now.
While they're distracted,
Yeah,
can I
what are you up to,
pry
Corporal?
something valuable out of the gullet of this beast?
Yeah, what did you have in mind? What do you want to do?
Well, I want to poke and prod with the tip of my axe and try and pop loose some ambergris, some gold flecked chunks of.
Yeah, I like that. You can, if you have a token, you can get it for free. If not, do a hunt roll.
Yeah, no tokens, so hunt roll for now. Does the axe count as tool enough for a second light die?
Yep. Mhm.
All right. Ooh, what's going on there? 5.
So you get a hunt roll token, and let me see. I don't think you're having any luck finding anything just sort of generally on the walls, but it won't be very difficult for you to see that ore deposit that Ethelinda saw. It kind of sticks out as far as like stuff in the area. It's a little ways away, but you can see it. If you want to head over there, you certainly can. You have to encounter something terrible though. And I will tell you that sort of over by that ore deposit, there is a tall, many-armed creature. It may be one of these immune bodies. It's a little unclear, but you just see lots of arms, and it's curled around the pool, and one of the arms is gently just like stirring the acid pool. It's over there by the deposit.
I have if I have a net with a few extra of these glowing jellyfish, can I take one and fling it over that direction to get a little more illumination and see what we're looking at?
Absolutely. You can do another hunt roll. Go for it.
Okay. Still 2 for flung jellyfish.
Mhm.
6.
Nice. Take your token. The jellyfish land, and it's one of the immune bodies, but just kind of in repose, kind of like maybe it's relaxing, maybe it's doing something else. Is a little unclear, but it's just sort of like curled up there and almost like playing in the acid pool a little bit. And you get a token as well.
Thank you. Should we approach? Any suggestions? What do y'all think?
What does Mr. Whittle do?
Mr. Whittle is currently he's gone ahead a little bit. He's actually pretty far ahead at this point, and he's still close enough to where you can hear him making, and you can see his little glowing boots, but you can kind of hear him making like very like satisfied, like ooh ah noises, right? And if you want to get a little closer, Scum, to really hear what he's up to, I'll let you do a hunt roll.
Six.
Take your token, and he's not aware of you, but he's talking to himself, and he's holding the glowing metals up. He's got some of them, and he's sort of like looking around, and he just says the words. He says, "Ah, you might well truly be the first and the last by the size of this place, I would say. But now, where are the eggs?"
I will sneakily get back to my companions and share with them the piece of information I just learned, that apparently Mr. Whittle is after the eggs of the banyan here.
I shudder to think what the creature will do if we take its eggs, since I only placed my staff in a sensitive spot and these things came for me.
Well, it seemed to be dying, so I guess the worst it could do isn't much, considering its state.
Don't take for granted what it can do.
I point to like all the creatures like staring at me, and I'm like, it can do something. Can I also spend 2 tokens to get some mojo money?
Absolutely. If you want to, you can spend them one at a time, or you can spend them both right now. It's up to you.
I'll spend 2 right away.
You are poking around, or you'll notice. There is a corpse of one of these immune body creatures. It's who knows how long it's been dead, but it is covered with a sort of a shimmering like mica. It's surprisingly beautiful. Perhaps this is something that happens when they die. But you could probably harvest all that mica, and if you want to harvest that mica, you can have it, and it'll be worth 2 gold.
Excellent.
Osto, what are you up to?
I think he'll tear himself away from staring into the digestive pool, and yeah, I'd like to investigate the ore deposit as well.
You can just go over there. It's kind of as I've described. It's an outcrop of shimmering metal. You've probably seen enough gold to know that it's not gold. It's gold-like, though. It looks vaguely like gold, or at least the color. But if you touch it, it sort of like crumbles. It's very, very like crumbly. What do you do?
Could I crumble some of it into one of my lead bottles?
Absolutely. How much do you take? Like, you're gonna just crumble and take it all? It's a pretty big deposit. I mean, it's probably like this. The sort of outcropping is about the size of like a bookcase. It's pretty big.
Say about like palm size.
Yeah, you can do that pretty easily. If you take some, I don't think a palm size amount is maybe worth anything intrinsically, except it is a sample that somebody will be interested in somewhere, right? Um, I don't know if it's quite rising to the level of being worth a gold yet, but yeah. Take a good amount of it, maybe it will be a little different.
All right.
So how much are you taking?
Let's fill the bottle.
Okay. You know, if it's about that big, I guess. How big do you think
Sure.
the bottle is? Yeah.
Yeah, it would still fit in the backpack, but maybe a little smaller than wine.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I think if you fill the bottle, you're looking at like about a gold. I'll let you have that. Says what's worth a gold. This amount of this stuff. Somebody will be interested in this. Perhaps it has chemical properties that we're not quite aware of yet. Corkula and scum. There's plenty more left.
Yeah, my thought is to twofold. I'd like to turn my hunt tokens into treasure, whatever that be. I've got an idea if you need one. And then yeah, I wouldn't mind shaving off some of that, stuffing it in my boots or whatever. Get a gold worth of flaked.
If you want to spend your tokens, I'll give you a treasure that's not the ore deposit.
Right.
If you have, you said you had an idea. What's your idea?
Oh, I was just picturing, you know how insects molt their exoskeletons. I was picturing the face of one of these centipedes that has sort of coated with a little bit of gold fleck as it just, the exoskeleton of it has coated and sort of laying there shed.
Oh, so it's like an art piece almost, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I'm into it. You can take that. It can be worth 2 gold. That's perfectly fine.
Right.
Put that in your.
I'll try and shave off some flakes.
You begin shaving off enough to equal a gold, and you can add that to your gear as well. And almost immediately, Ethelinda, the immune bodies are disturbed. They like whip around and they begin skittering like over to the direction of the ore deposit. Scum, what are you up to right now?
Still lagging behind Mr. Whittle, making sure he doesn't go too far. And I'm rather interested in what he has to say. Like if he's still talking to himself, I'm going to land an ear.
Do another hunt roll.
That's a 3.
He is still looking around. He's still like poking around. He's taking his time. He's being very careful where he walks. And he says, well, I don't know where the eggs are, but I can't get too far ahead of these dullards because they are my distraction so that I can grab some eggs and get out of here. Let them deal with the defensive systems of the Balandark. He's kind of like sing-songing.
I'm going to stare daggers at his back and slowly crawl back to Corcoran Canasta.
Indeed. Corcoran Canasta, this is the situation. 3 of these creatures descend down upon you quite rapidly. They are rearing back. They've got their black mucus dripping, and they are ready to go. They're combating you straight up. So I think it's the 2 of you by yourselves for now. Ethelinda and Scum can join later. The combined endurance is 11. So roll your weak, say how you're vulnerable, and let's roll your weak point.
think I'm vulnerable in the sense that I'm stuffing my boots with gold flakes and not really immediately paying attention to the ambient noise of skittering creatures.
Indeed. And Osto.
I think he's still got one hand on the torch and the other, so he's not quite ready for combat.
Very good. So I see a 3 for Korkaluk and a 1 for Osto. Combat 2. Osto, take it away. Hey, doesn't get better than that. That was boxcars. Very good. You defeat the creatures. You take no hits or no other kind of negative benefits. Describe it. What happens here? Kick it off. Kick it off, Osto.
As soon as the first one kind of rears back, Osto almost like on instinct grabs at his warhammer and just swings wide with one hand, and it's surprisingly effective, leaving a big dent in one of them.
Nice, good. Love that. And Korkaluk, finish it off.
All right. Remember that glowing jellyfish that I flung earlier? The glow from that is casting a shadow upon the inner wall here, and I see these shadows of, you know, 2 centipede beasties warning me that I'm about to get pounced upon, and swing around with my axe and with a hearty heave ho start chopping bits off these little critters.
Nice. And eventually you're able to smash them and chop them until they are no longer a danger. The ones that didn't attack, they just go back to doing whatever they were doing. Particularly focused on Ethelinda, but they kind of go back to what they were doing. Ethelinda, you are maybe in the chaos of the moment. You didn't see what happened, but the creature that was like hanging around the pool near the ore deposit, it's no longer there, like it's just gone.
Oh, I look for it.
How so?
Let's see, what do I got here? I think it'll just have to be the old-fashioned casting about and looking. I don't have anything augmenting that.
Go ahead and just roll a die.
That was not good. It was a 1.
If you have any tokens, they are gone. I don't know if you did, though.
I had 1.
Yeah,
I miss it already.
It is gone. And you encounter something terrible. You're looking around. Maybe you're kind of like, what's going on? You're poking around the acid pool where the creature was, because the creature just is quite suddenly not there. And then something leaps out of the acid pool. It's very close to all 4 of you at this point, because you were all kind of converging on the ore deposit, and that's where the pool was. This thing is hideous. It is an oozing, flailing merging of men, animals, and other things. Just an amalgam of melted and fused together body parts. It leaps out of the acid pool, and the vague face area that's just like a mouth and just a bunch of melted over flesh just kind of lets out a sort of like, and it's launching itself at whoever's around. So combat with everybody. Say how you're weak and roll, please. Or say how you're vulnerable and roll weak.
I think I'm particularly surprised and just don't see it coming.
Indeed not. And what is your weak point?
A1.
A1. How are you vulnerable, Korkaluk?
Given my fascination with how humans are put together, I'm amazed by this assortment of parts, and I'm just there like, wow, how do you get that joint hooked to there? And I'm just captivated by this piece. My weak point is a 6.
It's a bad one, yeah. What about you, Scum?
I think it's the complete opposite from Korkuluk. Like, whereas Korkuluk is fascinated by it, Scum is more disgusted and frightened by the display of strange, strange angles and the whole thing just being so bizarre.
Indeed. Asta, what was your number?
That was a 1, like Fraser.
Indeed.
Mine is 5.
How are you
And
vulnerable?
I think Osto's like kind of bent over, hands on his knees, just kind of recovering from the last fight, and he's not even looking.
Indeed not. This is a combat 4, pretty good start at least. Why don't you take it away, Ethelinda, since you provoked all this to some degree?
Okie dokie. So in the chat, I roll combat.
Combat 4.
Cool. Oh,
The endurance was 8, so you definitely destroyed it.
but
Did anybody get hit?
Oh yes.
I did.
Indeed. Didn't somebody have a 6 as well?
Yeah. Two
Or this-
people
or-
got hit.
That was me. I'm on a 6.
Oh yeah, fantastic. Not fantastic that you got hit. I'm just making fantastic that I understand what's going on. In any case, go ahead and let's get the combat going. You do destroy it though. Ethelinda, to start off, what happens here?
I think I sort of let out a screech and twirl about, and my staff like just strikes it as like a glanting blow type thing as I move.
And you took a hit as well, right?
I didn't know.
Oh, you did not. Okay, awesome. Keep it going, Osto.
I think Osto gets sideswiped from by it as soon as he lifts his head, and maybe a little bit of the acid starts eating away at his arm, and he'll take a ruin.
All right, and Korkuluk, get in there.
All right. I'm gonna lay waste to a piece of my armor here. As I'm standing there staring in amazement at this disjointed monstrosity, it just basically slaps my head so hard that my colander goes sailing off into the acid pools. And then I'm like, oh my God, no time to think about this now. This is actually an issue, and start swinging my axe around and trying to get out of the way.
Scum, you get the killing blow.
I'm just waiting for the right moment to dive into the melee, and the moment I see an opening, I dive in, thrust my dagger forward, and stab it in the eye. Well, one of its eyes.
Yeah, indeed. And the creature lets out a painful wail, and a wail that sounds like lots of different creatures. There are animal sounds in there as well, and it just like collapses and slumps down, quite dead. I actually owe you guys some gold rolls from this creature and from the immune bodies. So let's take our gold rolls now. Somebody do gold 11 for the immune bodies. That's why don't you go ahead and do that, Brian? So gold 11 for them. Absolutely nothing on 11 dice. And Ethelinda, you do gold 8 for the this hideous acid pool creature. And 1. We're going to take let's just take our break now. We'll take 5 minutes. When we come back, I want to know what's valuable on this creature that you're going to like, that someone's taking. And we get to name these 2 things as well and add them to the bestiary. So, but we'll come back in 5. Okay, we're back. What are we naming these creatures?
I was thinking Bannenstein for the patchwork creature, the last one we killed.
Okay, yeah, I like that. If nobody has objection, I think that's great. Oh, somebody's right, put that in there. Never mind. It's BALIN for what it's worth. And what's the other one called?
I was just going with immune body in my head.
I'm okay. If you just want to call them that, I think it's fine. If there's no other specific name that we want to call them. And also, what are we taking off of the Wallenstein?
I was thinking maybe one of the patchwork creatures had a cool looking weird fang of two melded creatures or whatever that we would just pull off.
Okay, nice. And I think the reason why you're not able to get anything off the bodies of the immune body creatures is other ones like immediately come up to the dead bodies and begin like processing them, like basically dragging them away and tearing them apart. I think that's happening with Wallenstein as well, but you just managed to get your hands on the tooth thing, Ethelinda, or whoever's taking it. So yeah.
Yeah, whoever wants to take it can. I already have 2 gold, so if somebody wants to nab it.
I could use some gold if you guys don't mind.
Sure. I already have 2, so.
So you can kind of just grab that scum as the as the immune bodies are tearing apart the part, tearing the thing apart, and frankly just depositing the pieces back in the acid pools. So Mr. Whittle comes back and he says, "Oh, did I miss something? You all look a little on edge."
Just kind of look up and give Mr. Whittle just another withering glare.
Says, "Well, are we ready to keep going? I've scouted ahead, and I think we're going in the right direction for treasure. Great big huge gobs of treasure up ahead. That's what I think. Enormous mounds of fabulous mineral wealth. This way."
That's the right direction. Maybe we should investigate the lungs first.
Says, "Oh, the lungs. I mean, everyone knows that nothing of importance is found in the lungs of a creature. Why would there be minerals or reproductive organs or really anything anyone might be interested in? Why would they be in the lungs? That doesn't make any sense."
You seem to have a very good idea of where we should be looking for, Widow.
Well, I'm trying to do my part. You know, I acknowledge that of the 5 of us, I'm the only one who has a formal education. I don't want to be too uppity here, but I do think that, you all have lived experiences that aren't the same as mine. Ethelinda here, I gather maybe you have a little bit of education in your background, so I don't want to besmirch your reputation by any means. But looking at the stars is not exactly the same as looking at the interior of a fabulous organic creature such as this. I have heard stories of Balandrak here. Never have I read of one so big as this one. I think we've really landed on something scientifically fascinating. But the playeral depths are not where treasure will be found, I assure you. Just great heaving back and forth. That's all that is.
The beast in the sky is quite different than this one.
Yes. So, shall we carry on?
Is there another exit in the room that we are in beside the?
It's actually quite a big chamber, and you followed him long enough to know that like the chambers just keep going, and like they split in all kinds of directions, and like it's like a cave system basically.
I'm curious. Is there any way, like, for the digestive pools, are they like huge or something? Like, could we see if, since it was digesting people, is there a way to fish out valuable things that may not have been processed by the acidic content or whatever?
You could do a hunt roll. Just tell me how you're doing it. Yeah.
Maybe with my staff, I'm probing about
Yeah.
in the waters.
I think that's a great idea. Go ahead and roll 2 dice.
1, 2, 5.
You get a token. We'll come back to that moment in a moment. Corklock, what are you up to right now?
Ooh, I like the idea of probing around for more loot. I was also going to suggest to our group here that if we think about what we know of anatomical objects, the lungs are likely to be a dead-end path where the further processing down the digestive tract might lead to an exit, if you will.
I agree. I think we should press forward, see where it leads us, and I'm rather curious to see what this Mr. Whittle thinks the eggs look like.
I'll prod around and see if I can find some more valuable stuff as well.
The fact that Whittle wants us to skip the lungs, maybe we should make a detour.
Corklock, go ahead and take your hunt roll.
Does the hilt of an axe count enough for poking through acidic pools as a second die?
Yeah, I'll take that. Go ahead. Go for it.
6.
Good. We'll come back to that in a moment. Ethelinda, you're able to poke pretty far down because you have the pole, right, which is good. Something grabs the pole. Do you let go of your pole?
Oh no. It's my only weapon, and maybe I think it's like a person alive, so I should try to save them or give them a pity ending or something.
You wrench it up, and it is indeed a half-dissolved woman, unclear, person, flesh melting off. She comes up and she says, "Kill me, please kill me."
And I dash her against some rocks.
Okay, you give her what she wants. Yeah, it's good. I'm gonna give you a condition. How does it make you feel?
Probably sad, horrified, probably like a fear that I might end up as this similar woman.
Take horrified as a condition. How's everyone feeling right now about this place? Just checking in on everybody.
I am, as my condition states.
I think Scum is more disgusted than anything at this point.
I'm kind of fascinated by. I'm sorry. I'm kind of fascinated by all of it thus far. The loot seems to be fairly good in this enterprise, and I'm still expecting Mr. Whittle to pull a fast one on us at some point. So trepidatious a little bit.
Yeah. Oster, how are you feeling?
I think he was expecting a better value proposition for the risk, but he's just glad they didn't have to fight another big thing, Ballenstein.
Corkluck, your axe handle is not going to be able to retrieve much because it's an axe handle and the pools are pretty deep. I will say, however, that over back by the gold deposit or the gold substance deposit or deposit, you didn't notice this before, but you will notice now as you're kind of hunkered down and you kind of see it a little more directly, tucked away over there appears to be like a mining pick and like a sack, perhaps somebody who came through here before. What do you do?
I will eagerly pull those things out, trying to not, lance the throat of the beast with the mining pick tip.
Yeah, so there's a mining pick, which you can take. You can take it as a weapon, but I don't think it's going to be worth much after the adventure's over because it's so kind of like corroded and stuff. But it's there if you need it, you know, in a pinch. The satchel, though, the sack. So it's a satchel. Contains a number of silver coins worth 1 gold total. So you can just add to your total gold there. You don't need to write the coinage down. And there's a little charm in there as well. It's a small smiling fish.
Do I know anything about it from artifacts or myths?
I'll give you this for free. It's Reef Maker make, so it's some kind of Reef Maker artifact.
All right. Do I know anything about its purpose? Like, is there a sense that the person who had this, it didn't work as a good luck charm for them?
Got it.
Or
Yeah,
was the very reason they were devoured?
You can take a hunt roll for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Using your artifact skill, so 2 dice.
Six.
This sort of like it's that's exactly what it is. It's good luck charm that the Reef Makers make, and it's it probably doesn't have like any intrinsic value, but you know, it's something that may be helpful as a bribe or barter or something in the future, or just maybe it's actually lucky. I don't know. But
Okay, I'll take it along, string it around my neck, I guess.
indeed. Check in with Osto and Scum. What are the two of you doing right now?
I think Osto would be chatting with Scum, maybe casting glances back at Mr. Whittle, trying to. Osto's going to be pushing for the lungs.
I like the idea that Scum and Osto are engaging in small dialogue as the as the expedition goes on. Personally, I don't have any qualms about exploring the lungs, so we can definitely head there.
Mr. Whittle says, I assure you, there is nothing of interest in the lungs. I have studied the matter extensively. I do have extensive knowledge of many things, frankly. And I'm here to tell you that the lungs are a complete dead end. I mean, it's truly nothing to concern ourselves with.
Yeah, but you said it before. You've never been inside a Balindrakir before. So.
I have not. This is true. And this is a species previously thought extinct. And fascinatingly and excitingly, it's not extinct now. I just wish to impress upon you that, well, we don't know what other horrors await us in the Balandark, and do we really want to push the issue any further than we have to? I mean,
you're welcome to press on without us if you'd like.
What say you, Evelinda, puppet?
Puppet.
That's Mr. Corkalock. Yeah.
I would go where my companions would go. I know nothing of this beast, and if we search it thoroughly, at least our endeavors might pay out. That's what we are here for, after all.
I feel like the potential value of some air sacs in a lung. Can you imagine those just as flotation devices? We could change the entire ballast of our ship. I'm sure the captain would be pleased.
How brilliantly industrious of you. I salute your innovative thinking. It looks like I am outvoted here, although I think that I should count for more votes for reasons I'm not going to go into, but fine, we go to the lungs.
Oh, Jason, I'm wondering if, so the set goal sort of implied that it's sort of like finding treasure. So if we spend tokens,
you have completed the set goal. The goal was just to collect ore samples, basically. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you've done that.
Gotcha. So we don't need to spend tokens then.
Not on completing the set goal. You can continue searching the caves though. Like that's something you totally do. But
right. Can I spend a token while searching that woman that terrified me?
Oh yeah, the one that you like. Absolutely. Go ahead and spend it. You want to get a treasure off her?
Yes, please.
You can define the treasure if you wish, or I can give you something.
Could it be something that identifies her so I could like in selling it or something, it also lets people know that she's been
Oh yeah, I like
found?
that. Yeah, that's good. Maybe she had a oh gosh, what wouldn't dissolve in the acid pool? That's the question.
Well, cameo would take a little longer, but not much.
I like that. Yeah, cameo. Yeah,
A
worth 1
cameo?
gold. Yeah.
1 gold. Awesome.
Mr. Whittle says, "Well, let's make haste then. If we're going to go to the playeral depths of the creature, playeral references. That's a scientific term for air sacs, which may be valuable. I don't know. That's what the puppet seems to think."
I wouldn't know, but your lungs seem useful to you humans.
Yes, well, shall we? Although, who knows what's deeper in the caves? I mean, I just want to throw that out there as well. There could be more ore deposits deeper in the caves.
Ah, shut up already.
Then we'll find what's there when we've made this quick stopover.
And he jumps back on your back, Osto, in order to hop over to the rope and, or to, saddle over to the rope and continue down. The playeral depths. Getting into them is a bit of a challenge, just because the air rushing out is sort of like focused in this point where you enter them, right? But you are able to eventually like push past it with a little bit of effort, not too difficult. We have a new set goal here. Discover the source of the rot that is killing the beast. This is a chain of caverns as well, densely filled with thick beach ball sized sacks in pastel shades. These large beach ball sacks are connected to each other like grapes on a vine, deflating and reinflating through these like connecting blue tubes. These are the creature's alveoli, and they give off a sort of there's like a sort of weak glow that's given off by the whole system, right? There's a scent ahead coming from a deeper part of the caverns that is a little bit like overripe fruit. And Mr. Whittle says, "Well, I have to confess, this is significantly more interesting than I thought it was going to be. I mean, look at these things. One wonders. The mind races with the possibilities. If you could, say, detach these sacks and, I don't know, sell them to mariners as flotation devices, or any other number of incredible ideas that I've just come up with. But my concern here, of course, is money, treasure, ore. That's what our captain cares about. And I'm torn. I feel the tug of scientific inquiry yanking me towards these alveoli. And yet. And he's just sort of talking to himself at this point. and wandering off like he does. What do you all do? Or let's just have the scene.
Do you think he'd notice if we just went off in a different direction?
I don't know, maybe.
Well, I mean, I'm asking everybody else there.
My thought was more to chaperone him for the moment, because I feel like he could do more damage than good if he starts trying to surgically remove alveoli. The things could go ugly. He seems to be a bit obsessed with spherical shaped objects if he's after, Balandraki or caviar at this moment.
Osto will kind of like lift his snout to the air and sniff and look back at everyone and say, something's not right in here. I know that smell.
What does it smell like?
Decay.
I think Scum will put a kerchief over his mouth and nose to avoid getting too many whiffs of the ripe smell.
Indeed. So what do we do?
I'd like to take a close look at the alveoli. Perhaps try to peer into one of them to see if there's just air in them, or maybe blood, or I don't know.
Go ahead and roll. Hot roll.
Six.
Nice. Go ahead and take your token. And as you're examining them, they're inflating and deflating. They're giving off a weak glow. And occasionally, a shiver sort of runs through the cavern, causing each of these balloons to glow a little brighter for a moment. And yeah, but it's unclear if there's anything going on inside of them. But it does seem like you might be able to maybe harvest one, possibly. It seems like it'd be pretty easy to just like snip off the connecting blue tube
I do it.
and seal it up so that it stays inflated.
I'll try. I'll do it.
When you all see Ethelinda go for her knife, what do you do, Osto and Korgalek?
I'm going to do that gentle hand and kind of push the arm down and be like, maybe on our exit route, on our path out, you try that. But I just imagine me inside your lungs with a little tiny pair of nippers nipping away. Are you going to hold steady while I do that?
A good point. They're just so tantalizing with their glowing.
You have been spending too much time listening to Mr. Whittle's jargon.
That is entirely possible.
Is it true what they say about human women and shiny things?
Osto I'm not touching that.
I seem to recall somebody else being very drawn to phallic, shiny, golden objects other than me.
Fair point. So, yeah. What are we doing here then? That's all that seems to be around is just these alveoli.
I would say to push in and find what smells so horrible.
Yeah.
Osto will follow his nose.
You press deeper in. This scent of overripe fruit gets stronger. And some of these balloons you'll start to notice are not inflating. They are gray, some are even blackened. These are like dead spots, essentially. And some further in still are filled with a sickly yellow pus that seems to be oozing out. What do you do? Let's go to Osto.
Would I be able to use my knowledge of beasts to figure anything out about this?
I'll take it, yeah. If you want to take a hunt roll, if you're just investigating this sort of infection.
Four.
Take your token. The infection is because something was introduced into the body, perhaps lodged in the body, and never removed. And so the infection just continues to grow and spread. It never has a chance to heal. You can even see some of the immune bodies crawling around here, like almost like they don't know what to do. Kind of crawling back and forth aimlessly.
Is there a way to kind of
Your terrible thing is, I think you accidentally touch one of the pus-filled sacks and it explodes on you, covering you in yellow pus. It smells vile. It is vile. How do you feel right now, Osto?
Nauseated.
You can take that as your condition. Korkulek, what are you up to?
I wanted to know if there's a way to kind of echolocate, so sort of look for where the yellowed and grayed ones are most concentrated and figure out sort of a central point where this emanates from.
When you say echolocate, do you mean using sound, or are you like?
I couldn't think of a better word for
Okay.
describing kind of the, like it's more gray over there, it's less gray
got it.
over
Okay,
here,
yeah,
therefore
yeah.
we go that way.
Using some deduction, basically. I like that. Yeah, you can take a hunt roll.
Just a 3.
Is it possible to help on hunt rolls?
Not a hunt roll.
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. You encounter something terrible, and indeed you do encounter something terrible. I think you're doing a pretty good job of like navigating the space based off how bad the infection is getting and to sort of get to the source of the infection. That's perfectly fine. You hear a scream. Help! Help! It's Mr. Whittle. And you see that an immune body has trapped him against cave wall with black mucus. Just his face is sticking out, and he's saying, "Get me out of here!" And the immune body just goes off, having trapped Mr. Whittle. What do you do, Korkulek?
Now is a great time to get that one book that he wouldn't let me look at. So that's what I'm gonna do.
He's covered in mucus. You will have to pull him out of the mucus to do that, or rifle around.
Oh, I can't like selectively part the mucus by his satchel, and
I mean, you gotta deal with the mucus in some way to get to it. Yeah, whether it's freeing him or getting the satchel. I love this idea, but just be aware of the stakes here.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some slime on me.
While you're deciding, Scum, what are you doing?
I was wondering if there's any way I can try to pierce a small hole in the air sacs, in the pus-filled air sacs, to try and relieve some of the pressure in them by using my dagger, for instance, like maybe stabbing it gently like a needle.
To accomplish what?
to try and make the pus ooze out and relieve some of the pain for the Balendrake.
I like this. It's disgusting, but I do. It's an interesting idea. It feels like a risk roll, I think. Yeah, it feels like a risk roll. What could go wrong, everyone? I'll just say straight away, probably what's going to happen, no matter what anyone says, is the immune bodies, they don't understand what you're doing, and they just attack.
That's what I was gonna say.
It could pop and foul your vision.
Oof.
I don't think I can top that.
Let's talk about dice. What do you think about for the first one? Any equipment or skills or the environment?
I think maybe tools is if I'm using my dagger as a tool, or invention.
I'll take the tool, or I'll take the dagger as the tool you're doing it with. And Devil's Bargain. I say no matter what, you're going to be doing this under the very watchful eye of a group of immune bodies. That's my offer.
Mine's probably more horrible, that your lungs become infected with the same illness.
I don't think I have anything.
Yeah, I can't think of anything.
Two fabulous choices. Arthur, what do you think?
I think Brian's idea is gross, but excellent. So I'm going to go with that. I'm just curious to see where it goes from there.
Yeah, indeed. You're up to 2 light dice. I'm not going to make you do a dark die yet.
Okay. And that's a 6.
Very good. Describe it. What happens here?
Scum is walking up to the sickly air sacs, and he gets out his dagger. I think at first he tries to prod gently, but the tissues are so thick that he can't quite get through, so he takes out his mallet and just gives a light tap on the hilt of the dagger. The pus starts to ooze out, and at the same time there's this sickly odor that he just, despite the fact that he has this the cloth on his face, he just gets a big whiff of it, and that's when the coughing starts.
Take the condition Balendark infection. Korkluk, have you made a decision yet about Mr. Whittle, who's trapped?
Yeah, it sort of feels like we're dealing with medieval biles here, that we've got black and yellow bile and red blood at play. I feel like I want to try and use the blade of my axe to scrape some of this yellow pus off of Osto, and then use that to try and counteract the tackiness or the stickiness of the black bile that's coating Mr. Whittle's satchel first, saying, you know, let's investigate these books you have and talk a little more, then we'll free you.
I like this. So you're going to take the pus and try to use the pus as a sort of like counteractant or something like that towards the black mucus. That's all totally disgusting. I'm here for it. There is no roll here. Basically, as soon as you start messing with the black mucus, immune body just fucking comes out of nowhere, like just flies at you on its like little arms and rears up and goes in for the attack. Osto, I think you're probably nearby if you want to get involved in this. The creature has an endurance of, by itself, an endurance of 9. So, how are you vulnerable?
I have a weak point of 1, and my vulnerability, I'm still focused on trying to converse with Mr. Whittle. He's probably jabbering in my ear, and I'm trying to.
He's freaking out. Like he's like literally freaking out.
And I have 4, and I think Osto is maybe the pus is a little sticky, and his movements are hindered.
It's the grossest scene, by the way. Good. Let's have a combat 2, and then if Ethelinda and Scum want to join in the next one, they can. But go ahead and do combat 2. Looking for a 9. Whoever wants to roll it. Osto, why don't you roll?
That's 5.
That's 5.
Both of us.
It hit both of you. Jesus. Okay. Let's have that fiction. What goes on here? The way it attacks. There's a couple of things here. I have a decision to make. Let me deal with the creature's hits, but you just describe your attempts to kill it. Go ahead and kick it off, Osto.
He tries to draw his warhammer, but it's actually like semi-adhered at his shoulder, so he has to kind of tug at it, and it's not free by the time it reaches him.
It lunges down and its mandibles sink into your flesh, Osto. The blood does not drip or spray or spill out of you. The blood actually leaves your body like a plume, and it forms like a plume above your head. And Ethelinda and Scum will notice that the other immune bodies are attracted to the blood plume floating in the air and are converging on the spot. Korkaluk, and also you take a ruin, unless you're using armor. If you use armor, none of that happens. But
I'll take the ruin.
Yeah, but if you take the ruin, that's going on. Korkaluk, you don't take any ruin at all. Describe how you try to hit the creature, then I'll take the creature's move.
Interesting. I feel like in this first round, I was using my axe to try and lever my way into a satchel. I'm more just trying to punch it with my fist ineffectually.
And after the creature bites Osto, sending up the blood plume, it spins around and sprays you with black mucus. Just absolutely like covers you with this stuff. You are kind of stuck to the cave floor like Mr. Whittle is. And no longer capable of combating, by the way. Ethelinda and Scum and Osto, you're all there now. Ethelinda and Scum, you're aware of the creatures being attracted to the blood plume, which is like it's just hanging in the air like a fucking smoke signal. What do you do?
I have a good idea, I think.
Okay.
Remember I collected that vial of gilded blue Balandrek blood? I want to release it into the plume of that blood to kind of muddle it.
I love this idea. I love this. I don't need a... do I want to risk roll here? I think I do, because basically what's at stake here is not having more of the immune bodies join the fray, right? So love this. Stakes are obvious. What could go wrong is obvious. Let's just move straight to dice. What do you think about for your first light die? Equipment, skill, or environment? Oh, you're using the equipment, you're using the blood, so that's one light die, easy. Devil's bargain. No matter what, Ethelinda, you have to deal with a single immune body of your own. So the swarm won't come, but you'll have to deal with one.
I say that no matter what, shoot, I can't remember the name of...
Or if you fail, the swarm will come and you have to deal with your own. So, to be clear.
I was saying that no matter what, the spirit of Ithida that lives inside you will want to go after the muddled blood.
I love that. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we'll get Aditha in here. Osto. Do you still have that condition, Ethelinda? You still have the Aditha spirit? Okay. Drew rather, do you have any thoughts on Devil's Bargains, or Brian, any Devil's Bargains?
I like the idea of Editha coming out, but maybe it's less direct than that, and more just there's a blending, a bleeding of her personality into Ethelinda.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Editha is no nonsense. She attacks first. She's deeply selfish, we know, so that actually might not be great right now at this moment. Yeah.
I like the idea of Editha coming out in some way as well.
Brian, did you have an offer before we continue? Okay. I love the idea of Editha, like if she comes out, like she essentially, because she's a marksman, she like helps you like with the like throwing the blood up into the signal, to the alert.
Oh yeah.
It could be kind of cool.
Yeah, let's do that. That sounds cool.
2 light dice, take a dark die as well.
Double a 5 light and a 5 dark.
Okay. And here's where I always get the rule wrong. I think we count the dark because it's tied for highest. It's equal to or greater, I'm pretty sure. Or yeah, okay. Complication is going to be quite simply this. You're going to do this, but Editha also would not run into the fray. So I'm not going to let you do combat with the one that you have to, the one that Scum and Osto are going to have to deal with. The one that just trapped Korkaluk. So if you want to add a dark die to allow yourself to join that combat, by all means you can, but otherwise if you're cool with this, the alert plume is neutralized.
Okay, so I could try again and possibly be able to enter the fray.
Right, yeah, because Editha's like sort of self-preservation instinct won't take over. And
All
we
right,
know
right.
this because she literally sacrificed her husband to save her own life.
So, okay. Oh yeah, I'll try.
Go for it.
So it'd be 2/2, I guess.
Yeah.
Oops, I gotta actually type risk, not just 2/2. Oh,
Hey,
cool.
there you go.
Okay.
Your ruin goes up. I think the ruin's going up just because of Editha's like sort of kind of taking over your psychology a little bit, but it's a full success. Describe how you save, or how you call off the alert, basically.
Yeah. So I see these things scuttling. I take the vial and I uncork it, and then as I throw it, I think there's like maybe my face just sort of contorts into an Editha like expression that I'm not quite aware of, and I make like a throw that I could never possibly have made otherwise. And then when the vial like spins over and over on the camera, it releases the fluid and mixes with the plume, and maybe it even like changes the color, like the
Oh, nice. Yeah,
yeah.
that's good. Like it goes blue, which kind of like causes them to go away, right? Yeah, it's pretty good. That's how it would work in the video game, at least. You'd know it's safe blood because it would change from red to blue. Good. I think we've got a combat here. Sadly, Korkaluk, you cannot participate, but everybody else can. There's one active immune body still there. Those of you who were not in the combat previously, say how you are vulnerable and roll your weak point, please.
I think at any moment there's a risk that Scum just bumps into a sack of pus.
Yeah, indeed, Ethelinda.
I think Editha is fighting me as I try to strike the creature, so I might hesitate and get hit and whatnot.
Yeah, I love that. So what are our weak points now? We have 2 for Ethelinda, 1 for Scum. What was yours again, Osto?
He's sticky and nauseated.
What was your weak point number?
Oh, sorry, 4.
4. We're still looking for 9. At this point, we're up to 5 dice, actually. So Go ahead and do a combat 5. Scum, you can roll it. Absolutely horrible roll. I don't think it could have gone worse. Very bad. You have 5 is your high. There's lots of 2s and 1s and a 3 here. Did anybody have a 2? Ethelinda has a 2. This is 3 ruin, Ethelinda. Unless you have a piece of armor, you're also going to get hit, Scum, for 1. Let's have this. Let's also continue the fight. You have not killed the creature yet. What does it look like?
He swings his warhammer and misses, just a complete miss, and tries to just stab it forward to try and get a good blow, but it's not enough.
Scum, keep going. Oh, you're good.
Scum isn't very useful in this fight. He's sort of nauseated as well. He's starting to cough a lot, and at some point just loses his balance, and just by sheer instinct, he raises his shield in front of him, just as the immune body goes to strike him, and the shield just splinters.
So you don't take the hit. That's great. And Ethelinda, you're going to take 3 ruin if you don't use an armor. So describe your moment here.
Yeah, I'll use the armor, but so does that negates 1 ruin, right?
Negates all of it.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Okay. I definitely use it then. So I think what happens is I go to strike the creature and it spins about with its talons, and there's just like a selfish self-preservation thing where I sort of hesitate and try to, like, my legs sort of move on their own accord to spin me to get me out of combat. And it's just sheer luck that the bile or the slash hits my coat instead.
Very good. Next combat round, you're up to 6 dice. So, because you keep getting Korkuluk's dice, even though Korkuluk is neutralized.
I'm lying there shouting out, like, look out behind you!
Right, yeah. Hey, there you go. It's a better go of it. You destroy the creature. However, there is a 4 and a couple of 2s on there. Let's just roll through. Scum, go for it. If you're not going to use armor, I'll take the creature's narration. So go for it.
Yeah. Scum just lunges forward after getting his shield broken and stabs the human body in the side, and just gets dragged along a little bit, making a deep gash in its side.
I like that. Yeah, I'm not going to mucus you or anything. I think you just get like kind of ran over a little bit. You're probably too small. You're probably like beneath the creature's notice at this point anyway. Osto, go ahead. Give us the next bit.
One of the taloned hands kind of lances out towards him, and he kind of angles himself just in time to take it on his breastplate instead of in his shoulder or neck, and swings the hammer again, just smashing it into the side of the creature. And
Ethelinda, you get the killing blow. Kill it.
I think I'd take the staff and slam it so hard that it sort of like punctures right through its skull into the side of the wall.
Nice, good. Go ahead and somebody roll up 9 gold dice. Whoever's feeling lucky.
But I get hit twice though, I think, as well, right?
What is your you have weak point 2. So yeah, you're gonna take 2 ruin if you don't have armor.
Yeah. No more armor now.
Yeah, so how does it hurt you?
Perhaps the I think it's one of those cinematic moments where I strike it in the head, but at the same time it's lunging out, and so it gets me in the chest as I get it in the head.
Nice, good. Somebody roll 9 gold dice. Korkuluk, you roll them since you've been hanging out.
You sure? My last roll was not so hot.
It can only be better.
2.
Not bad, actually. On the numbers, it's pretty good, statistically speaking. Yeah, great. You get to harvest some stuff from this creature. While you're sort of thinking about that, Mr. Whittle, pinned to the wall, black mucus, and Corkluck, same situation, but kind of more pinned to the floor, like kind of on his back. Mr. Whittle says, wow, going to the lungs, really wonderful idea. Wonder whose idea that was. I know whose idea it wasn't. Oh, that's right, it wasn't my idea. I seem to recall advocating quite vociferously, though apparently not vociferously enough, that we should continue going through the scouring caves. Yet here we are.
Shut it, or we'll leave you stranded here.
Indeed. What are you all taking off this creature?
Who's in need of gold here? I have met my burdens just barely, and I'm also pinned in a pile of goo, so I'm probably not the best for looting.
I have enough tokens to just convert them into gold when I want. So if anybody else needs the treasure, go ahead.
Ethelinda looks like could use 1 or 2.
Yeah, I need
Me
5.
too, also, right?
I'm going to convert some hunt tokens, so that'll have me halfway there.
Yeah.
Ethelinda, are you at Rune 5 as well? You are.
Yeah. So here's the question: if I at Ruin 6, I'm just like I get taken over by you, right? Like I lose control.
Ruin 6, your character's dead and gone. Like,
right.
Yeah. I mean, how that looks in the fiction, we'll figure it out that they're gone from the game. So.
Right. I'm at 5.
If one of you has like a healing type skill, you can definitely. I'll let you have risk rolls to try to like fix yourself or whatever. But
well, I have mending now.
It's particularly dangerous for you to try to mend yourself.
Oh, yeah.
I have rewind if I want to try and pitch you back in time somehow.
That's always a fun maneuver, which I'm always open to, but it always leads to crazy chaos. So yeah, if you want to try that, you certainly can.
And Scum could repair you.
Yeah. These are all options, all with their own dangers, but options.
What about Mr. Whittle? Does Mr. Whittle have anything useful, like a little handy vial of troll's blood?
Oh, I like that, actually. I like that. Mr. Whittle says, I have come prepared for the eventuality that some of us might sustain injury, but I certainly can't give it over, though, unless someone gets me out of this stuff.
I'll work pretty hard at getting him out of there.
Because the immune body that trapped him is dead, it won't react to, like, if you just kind of fiddle with the mucus, like there's nothing to respond anymore. So if you just want to like free him, you can totally just do that.
Sure, yeah, I will.
And
I'll even butter him up and tell him that he was right.
He says, thank you. As he's like pushing mucus off his body, he says, it's good to be appreciated. I don't have any skill with weapons, no martial talents, and I'm not much of a climber, certainly not much of a spelunker. I don't know much about going into the dark places. I can't make my hand glow with a frankly inadequate flame, but I do come prepared. Very well. You can have my 1 draft of restorative potion, Ethelinda.
So our academics need to stay together.
Yes, I think that's right.
So do I make a roll?
Right. No, you just lower your ruin by 1.
Is the part where you flash a small hand signal that shows you're in the same sorority or something with them?
And he says, what about the puppet? We're going to free him as well.
I wish you'd stop calling him that.
Just, oh, yeah, yes, I suppose that is a bit. I don't want to minimize the creature's dignity by any means. Certainly, let us free him, though, and he could be of some use to us yet.
Is it worth experimenting to see if there's a substance that will cut through this sticky bile? Like if you pour some seawater on it, does it disappear?
Interesting.
Or if you urinate on it, or I don't know what.
It sounds like you're doing a hunt roll. Tell me what you're doing, and you can have a roll.
Well, I'm kind of pinned, but I'm basically like yelling, "Splash some seawater on it!" Or something.
Try this,
I
try
don't know what,
that,
anything.
I'll cut that as using the. Well, you can't get the environment roll for hunt roll. It's either equipment or skill. So if you want to just make a single die roll, go for it.
Sure. Four.
Take your token. Nothing's working. It's just, but you know, but they do free you. And encounter something terrible. Let me look at my stuff here. I don't know how terrible this is, but certainly this is taking some time, right? As you're doing all this. And you've been just kind of like listening to the sort of in and out, inhaling and exhaling of the creature as the warm air passes over you and stuff, back and forth, and it's definitely like kind of lulling you a little bit, right? Like it has a soothing drone to it, right? And I think that even probably causes you all to be a little like just like as you're kind of like just catching your breath here in this moment, you'll notice Corklick that maybe Scum and Ethelinda, because Ethelinda's a little older especially, they're just like kind of sitting there and just kind of like not nodding off, but just like clearly like kind of relaxed and just like, you know, not fully ready to go, right? Which could be an issue or not. But in any case, they do free you.
All right. I'll try and slap you on the back and snap some fingers in front of your eyes. I don't think I have any coffee brewing supplies in my backpack.
Indeed.
You flesh beings might want to, I don't know, double respirate or something to make up for the foulness of the air here.
Yeah. All we need is just a oxygenator ourselves so we're all high going through.
Let's take 5. We're back. What are we taking off of the immune body? And who's getting it?
Ethelinda and Osto got 1. I think we both just put it as a gold.
Okay. I would like to know what the thing is, because we track that in the bestiary. Like, what is the harvestable body parts? It could be 2 of the same thing, or 1 or 2 different things.
Could it be so old that it accrued some of that mica stuff on it?
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe Osto broke off a talon.
Nice. If somebody wants to note that in the bestiary, that'd be great. And are we continuing to look for the source of the infection?
This is a pretty unlucky part.
I think at this point, Scum is rather interested in trying to make some sense out of this. He succeeded in emptying some of the sacks, so maybe he'll be trying to find more ways to harm the beast.
And I think I do think that like you noticed a distinct like lack of interest from the immune bodies in you after you sort of like release some of the pus, right? Like I think the immune bodies responded positively to that. It was really just the plume of blood that caused, you know, them to react, and whatever Mr. Whittle did off screen to to draw the attention of the one that you had to fight. We don't know what he did.
And I
But
feel like
yeah, yeah.
if we manage to help this beast, I mean, I'm fascinated by you organic beings anyway, but if there's a way to patch up this beast, perhaps these immune bodies will see us as being allies and help us down the road somewhere.
So pressing deeper into the towards the smell, right? The overripe smell. Is that the idea?
I would like to.
And more blackened air sacs. Good. You're walking a bit. Mr. Whittle is holding forth. He says, you know, I am not just a student or expert in the life sciences. I am also something, I have an interest in history, unusual history, little known history, even theoretical history. For example, did you know that they say the Ballandrakia used to be much more plentiful than they are even during the heyday of when wreath makers and whalers were harvesting them? No, we in the present era, we caught the Ballandrakia at the end of its life cycle, the end of its time upon this earth. In the ancient times, they practically ruled the world. They had boundless territory on land and sea. It was the god kings of old Kaldur, they say, theoretically. The god kings of old Kaldur who made the decision to destroy them because, well, the Ballandrakia threatened to take over everything, end the world as we know it. That's a wild thought, isn't it? An apocalyptic event brought on by creatures whose power and connection to the earth we scarcely understand. There are even cults that wish to bring about this new age, this new era of the Ballandrakia. But, well, that's just madness.
How would one go about joining a cult like this? Were one very interested in seeing a resurgence of the Ballandrakia? Hypothetically speaking, of course.
Membership is fairly limited, temporally speaking, because as soon as the cult accomplishes what it intends to accomplish, well, the whole world will be destroyed. This is nothing to be a member of. But, you know, I suppose that the cult, if there's such a thing, thinks that this is a way of accessing some new state of enlightenment, or a sort of heaven, if you will, for those of you who prefer coddling terms and concepts like that. But, you know, I haven't looked into the matter too much.
I'm going to say, look at the mere image, the thought of a Ballandrakia walking on land. That's a thing I'd like to see. And I'm going to give my best mannequin, like, wink, wink.
He says, well, I mean, this is all sort of an academic discussion, because at the end of the day, a Ballandrakia hasn't been found gravid with eggs for centuries and centuries. So it's not possible, really, for them to be more.
All the more important we save this one then, and the chance of future fertility. We should definitely clear this.
No. I think this is it. I think we are walking amongst the last of her kind, or his kind. I don't know.
All right. Can we find the source of this infection and deal with it, or the rot?
Yeah, you can be pressing forward deeper into the cavern. You don't have to do much searching because you find it just the further you go. There's a ship, a whole ass ship, wedged into the pleural walls. And that is set goal accomplished. And well, yeah, it's basically set goal accomplished, but we're not necessarily in the next set yet. You see a ship. A rift is torn in her hull and is leaking out wine and vinegar into the space based off the smell cutting under the rot. The ship has been partly covered by immune body mucus, and there are a number of immune bodies just sort of crawling all over it, trying to contain the damage that the ship has kind of done to the lungs of the creature. But it is buried. The stern is buried deep in a far wall. The figurehead out of view. And the whole thing is surrounded by just this quite fetid, infected pool of very, very fluid pus. Scum, what do you do?
Just to make sure I got that right, the pool of pus is surrounding the ship, so that accessing the ship might be difficult.
I don't think so. The hull is open and it's at ground level. I mean, you have to wade through the pus, but you can definitely get to the ship. Yeah.
Osto, I humbly request that you lend me your shoulder so that I don't have to wade through this pus so we can get to the ship, if you please.
I suppose I'm already wearing enough of it.
Mr. Whittle says, "Oh, well, Osto, is that your name? I too would like to not have to wade through the pus.
That's
and
nice.
we already have established a certain sort of parasitic relationship, if you will."
I'm not going to argue that. Come on, one on one arm, one on the other.
Good. This takes me back to my childhood, he says as he climbs up. It reminds me of when my father used to swing my brother and I around and around. Oh, what merriment and joy we had. He thinks wistfully. He says, they're all dead now. Shame. Ethelinda, what are you up to?
Is the pus like we've seen before?
It's more fluid, like it's more liquidy.
Okay, so that's probably good for us then. Okay. I think I'll be probing for a good path, I guess, then to the ship.
I just saw the chat. To be clear, I may have misspoken. It's just the front part of the ship that's buried in the wall. The figurehead is. Say that again, Ethelinda. Sorry, what were we doing?
Just probing for a good path to enter the ship or get on it or board it.
I mean, the hull's cracked right open, so you can just like walk right into that crack if you wish. You could also climb up to the top side of the ship, the part that's, there's a good portion of it still exposed. The immune bodies are ignoring you as long as you don't do anything to exacerbate the situation, I suppose. So what do you do with Linda?
Yeah, I'll make my way to the crack there.
Is that what you are doing as well, Osto and friends?
Yep.
And Korklik, what are you doing?
I've got an idea that I kind of want to poke around, but I was also trying to check my notes here. So question first. Did I imagine that we had some rumor of a ship that had disappeared? Like, can I see a name on this vessel?
The name of the ship is actually on the ship, but for some strange reason, there's an immune body that's like heaving black mucus on it, like covering it. but
Okay.
you can just see a few words. The last 3 letters are ICA.
All right. So I've got an idea for us to consider is if we take some of perhaps some of Ethelinda's numbing herbs, some of the mildly anesthetic nettle jellyfish, can we alleviate the rot symptoms, like kind of smear this in with the vinegar and wine that's spilling into the gut to hopefully make our passage through the beast a little more easy. I don't know if we can completely remove an entire ship. That seems a bit beyond our means. So questioning that, think on that. Otherwise, I think I want to find out the name of this vessel. Try and get up to there so that I can sort of read through. Like, I have skill in obfuscation and artifacts. I feel like if I get close enough, I might be able to discern the name without disturbing the black ichor again that I've learned I shouldn't touch.
Yeah, like that. Take a hunt roll.
2 dice for obfuscation or no?
Sure. It's a bit of a stretch, but go for it.
Six.
Yeah, it will be. You won't have any trouble discovering after in places where the mucus is sort of like streaking away or whatever. The name of the ship is Copernica. Stepping through the infected fluid is no problem. There's nothing down there. And you can step into the hull for the rest of you. No issues whatsoever. And that is a new set inside the wreck of the Copernica. Set goal, discover the fate of the Copernica. As I've noted, the ship is half absorbed into the cavern walls. Much of it spilled into the pleural caverns. The figurehead either missing or eaten away or just wedged in a wall somewhere. Within is a horror. The sailors of the ship are merged with the walls and floors, body parts attached at odd angles. They are uncomprehending, but alive. Those of you who already have a horrified condition cannot go inside. Those of you who do go inside take a horrified condition. Who's going inside?
Let me ask my position here a bit. Like, am I sort of coming from the stern seeing Ethelinda back out? I think Ethelinda, you're horrified, right?
I like that as a scene. Yeah, the two of you kind of meet up.
Ethelinda, you all right there? Your eyes go white often, but your skin is pale right now.
Indeed, the horror inside is something that seems to have shaken me more than I can deal with at the moment. This whole place is not something that I've ever had to contend with. There's no living sky above me. This is truly horrific.
So I was successful on my last hunt roll. Can I convert that to essentially a shiny part of the ship, a small brass bell, or a better hourglass than the hourglass Ethelinda has?
With the brass bell, it's a good idea.
And all right, well, I'm going to offer this directly to Ethelinda to kind of distract and cheer you, sort of like, ooh, shiny.
Look at this bell.
But also worth 1 gold.
Humans love shiny things. Here.
Exactly. You're shiny human. Or, sorry, rather, you are shiny. You're shiny human. A shiny thing for you to distract you from your feelings of horror. I'm going to hand that off to you. So I'm going to burn a hunt token to give you a gold. and then I'm going to enter
Thanks.
the vessel.
You're not clearing your condition for that, though. Well, I'm curious how you react, though, Ethelinda.
I think it works as far as a distraction, and it spins off her thoughts into wondering what's going on, but then he leaves anyway, so she's just sort of like, okay.
So, Ethelinda, you're keeping watch. There's nothing wrong with that. And you have a bell to warn them of danger if you need to. Inside the hull. I mean, it's like faces peering out of walls. They're fused to the walls, to the bulkheads. Arms, legs jutting out, still kind of twitching and bobbing here and there. They are alive, but they don't seem to have any recognition of you. They're mostly just like kind of like and I'm curious, Osto, what are you looking for exactly?
I think he was looking, at least partially, for some way to dislodge this, maybe, if that were possible, but seeing just how shoved through the cavity it is now, I think he's just looking for treasure.
Take a hunt roll.
Oh man.
What'd you get?
One.
If you had any tokens, they are gone. Mr. Whittle says, Mr. Whittle is looking at one of these like poor unfortunate sailors fused with the wall. Imagine Han in the carbonite, right? Like kind of like that, And he says, Mr. Whittle just says, we are such fragile creatures, aren't we? I mean, look how efficiently the body of the Balindrak here has dealt with this intrusion. I mean, really, what have we even done here with our time on this planet, in this world? What might there be beyond this, beyond our fragile, fragile shells? It is a question that consumes thinkers and philosophers. I wonder about it myself. So fragile.
Exactly. I would say the answers are likely written in a logbook in the captain's quarters. Why don't we head there and search for it?
Well, if you just want to drain the mystery out of the situation, then sure, let's go find the captain's log in the captain's quarters.
In doing this, I'm slightly trying to bait Mr. Whittle to be the first one stepping into those captain's quarters ahead of me, just in case.
I mean, Mr. Whittle doesn't care about this, right? I mean, he didn't want to be in the lungs in the first place. He's looking for something else. But nevertheless, he is happy to go first. It's fine. He seems surprisingly unshocked by all this. He seems almost like this scene confirms something for him. He says, imagine this creature, this fantastic creature. And now imagine hundreds of them, thousands of them, crawling all over, flooding nations, trampling castles beneath their great weight, people into their bodies.
It's almost like humans are mere worms to the fish. of the
Yes,
palace. Yeah.
yes. Most of us are. Asta, what are you doing right now?
Carefully stepping around as much of the people as he can, and just I think he's investigating for, like, this doesn't make sense to him. They're not absorbed into the creature, they're absorbed into the ship. So if there's any clues for how that happened.
Indeed. You reach what is probably like a galley or possibly the captain's quarters. It's another space in any case. Take a hunt roll for now.
One.
The door is blocked by a leg coming out of the bulkhead, physically wedged and pressed against the door. So you can't like pull the door open. You could, I mean, Mr. Whittle will say, maybe it could just hack the leg off, I suppose, or break it so that it's no longer in the way.
Could I break the door instead?
He says, but it's so easy. I mean, look. And he just like takes, like, I think he has like just some kind of, I think he just grabs like some kind of like piece of some plank or something, and he just like slams it up against the leg.
Oh, tackle him. Tackle Mr. Whittle. Get that done.
He says, you're all going to have to get your nerve up if you're going to make it out of here alive. I intend to. Now is not the time to let our bowels loose, gentlemen. Now is not the time to lose our nerve. We have to do whatever we have to do to finish the mission. Scum, what are you up to?
At this point, I'd like to spend 2 tokens and have Scum go through the pockets of the men who are merged with the ship, and he's being very shameful and just going from one to the next, rummaging through their pockets and doing, I'm sorry, I can't do anything for you, I'm so sorry.
You can loot all of them. It will equal enough silver to equal 2 gold. Mr. Whittle says, fine, smash down the door. Do what you must. He actually turns away. He says, I'm going to go talk to Ethelinda. Perhaps she will understand the magnitude of our situation.
Asta will take his warhammer to the door then.
You can smash it open, no problem. Ethelinda, let's cut back to you for a moment. What are you doing while you have this time?
Is there other points of interest other than the ship?
You can take a general hunt roll just to see what you see.
Sure. I don't think I have skills that would apply. I make a prophecy that I do find something. Okay, so hunt 1. 2. Nope.
You are casually, maybe not casually, but you're just sort of looking around, seeing what you can see. And you fail to see a hand that is coming out of part of the exterior of the ship. It's fused to the outside. And you step on the hand accidentally, and there's a scream from deeper in the ship when you step on the hand. What do you do?
I probably let out a shout as well, and maybe I crouch down and try to see if I've injured it, and maybe even try to lend it comfort, like rip the hand in my own or something.
Indeed. And yeah, I mean, you just like the handle, it's just like there, like kind of doing its thing. And as long as you're not stepping on it, there's no more screaming.
But does it react to like my touch? Like, does it seem like a mind would
Oh,
be
yeah.
attached to it?
Creepily, as you touch the hand, it like, it touches back. It even like takes your hand, and you can even hold the hand in a comforting way. Perhaps if it may even comfort you in some way. How do you feel upon taking the hand in your hand?
Yeah, I think sad, disturbed, a little bit comforted. At least somebody is there, something is there with me, and at least seems to apparently care back as well.
Nothing creepy about any of this. Back in the ship, you get inside the galley. And you see a woman by her coat and insignia, perhaps the captain of the ship. She appears to be fused with the chair and table she's sitting at. Her arms are kind of like fused into it. She's sitting in the chair. And she's just kind of like, she actually like responds to your appearance. The others have not, but she actually kind of looks up when you walk in. Korkuluk, what do you do?
Ooh. I'll make a little salutation. Captain, you've run aground. How can we help?
And she sort of like looks at you and she says, "Who are you?"
First mate Korkuluk.
I have no memory of that. How many are left? How many more survivors are there?
5 at the moment. What do you remember from what befell the ship, Captain?
We were caught in a gale off the coast of some far-flung island, uncharted. And we were just quite suddenly swallowed by this beast. I could hear this screaming. I could hear this screaming. I could see these strange spheres coming inside the ship. I fought one of those creatures, those terrible creatures. And now this is the last thing I remember. And she looks at you, Osto. She says, "Kill me, please."
Hang on a moment before you give any mercy blows. Can we investigate further how she's attached? Is it the same black ichor, or is it something else?
Do a hunt roll.
Five.
5, you said?
Yes.
Take your token That's a distinct possibility. Like perhaps this is what happens if you like if the immune bodies like have too much time to like entrap you and mucus you. Maybe there's other processes that we haven't seen yet. But there's certainly some familiarity in terms of like your own situation when you were freshly trapped earlier. She looks at you again, Osto. She says, please, I beg of you, please put me out of my misery. Kill me. I can't go on like this. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Oh, please. What do you do?
You don't want to know what?
And then she sits up a little straight and her eyes go perfectly milky white. And then she speaks with a voice reminiscent of the voice of those starry wolf beasts, the Aoids. A voice that sounds like many voices, but somehow more ancient, from a deeper place, an older place. She says, you have come here to pull us apart. You are too late. We will live forever, every child of the Balan Dark. Long have we waited to feel the warmth of the day's star. We shall wait no more. Mr. Whittle is, yes. Your time is nearly here. It's nearly here. We're almost there. He's like on his knees at this point. What are you all doing right now?
Osto's going to ready his hammer.
Scum, I assume you're grabbing the last bits of silver.
So I think Scum is just standing on the threshold of the captain's quarter, watching the scene from afar with a sort of a horrified look on his face. Doesn't really know what to make of the situation, and it's just poor woman.
Ethelinda, although you didn't hear the captain speak or whatever spoke through her, at the precise moment she stopped speaking, as soon as she said, we shall wait no more, the cavern began to rapidly fill with seawater, quite rapidly. And that is where we shall leave the session. Let's go to Stars and Wishes. Whoever wants to go first, by all means.
My stars will go to just how gross and evocative this has been. It's you've topped your how far it was going to go. You've topped it several times, Jason. So well done.
The incursion gets a lot of credit for that, but thank you.
And just seeing everyone react to that has been fun. Wishes for dice that like me better next week. That would be nice.
Indeed.
And also just to see what happens to Mr. Whittle.
Go ahead, Arthur.
I think my star would be the reveal of the ship. I wasn't expecting that at all, and I thought it was a very good plot twist, so to speak. Very interesting, and it creates some backstory for the Balendrakir as well. And I thought it was rather on point. As for my wish, I got the idea while we were playing that perhaps Widow, maybe a siren in disguise, as well as as well as a member of this cult, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he reacts to, well, not so much how he reacts, but just how the relationship with him develops.
Maybe he's like Lord Varys in the Game of Thrones. He's like half fish man. That would be pretty great. Any other stars or wishes?
Yeah, I really like the combat, even though it messed me up pretty good.
The combat was really fun. It was that fight with that single immune body was like so harrowing. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. All the other things, everybody got really high dice rolls. It was just funny that it changed. But I really liked how the immune body, like we found out more about what the immune body actually does, and like the whole sticky black stuff was pretty fun. And yeah, I really liked keeping Editha as an inhabited thing. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a star for me. I really liked that you remembered to bring that back. That was, or whoever remembered it, that was good to it was a nice way of like kind of bringing that fiction forward a little bit and reminding us of it. It was a good moment. Did you have any wishes, Fraser? Or?
I don't think, maybe just more Editha stuff happening. We'll
Sounds
see.
good. Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, I was just really taken with Scum, as Arthur had Scum apologetically looting these poor sailors who are bound into the ship. That was just amazing. So that stood out for me. And this is part star, part wish. I feel like the four medieval humors are certainly at play in this somehow. The yellow bile, black bile, blood, and phlegm, water. I feel like that's the other one. I can't remember.
Phlegm, yeah.
Phlegm, just phlegm. Okay. Anyway, just sort of curious to see how that plays out. Right now, I'm envisioning like trying to yank a lifeboat out of this ship and just row for the gulf.
row out of there as fast as you can. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Probably not a bad idea. For me, stars. I'm having a lot of fun playing Mr. Whittle. So star, just because I'm loving Mr. Whittle. Mr. Whittle is not written in this much detail in the incursion. It's like almost 90% me, but the basic ideas of Mr. Whittle are in there, so it was enough. It was enough for me to go on. I'm having just fun playing him, and I star for. I also really loved the. There were several like moments where just like the Fraser, I thought you did a really good job of like kind of leaning into the mechanics and finding creative ways of like getting those extra dice. I thought that was really great. I also really quite enjoyed Scum looting the silver. That was a good moment. Just felt like a good moment on screen. It was like, and this sort of like something about the like switch of Mr. Whittle as his sort of like madness coming to the fore, like the way there's something about like how he became like suddenly totally desensitized by the situation, and you all became like more sensitive to it. I thought that was intriguing to me. Just something about that dynamic was really fun to watch play out. And yeah, there's just lots of great scenes, lots of great moments, great combats. It was just a really good session. I was super happy with it. Wishes for next time. The incursion is very close to being over. Like there's not much more to do, so just know that. I hope that we're going to get to do a Hearthfire again, so I'm very excited to see how the Hearthfire stuff will be deepened in another session. That'll be fun. And yeah, so I guess those are my wishes. I am curious to see if you live, because even though it's almost over, it's a fucking harrowing, intense ending that might be hard to survive. So I'll be curious to see if you survive. Yeah, there's a lot there. So I think we have a lot to look forward to. Those are my thoughts. Anything else before we go? Okie doke. I'm going to stop the recording. If you're watching the video, thank you for joining us.